growth really is happening in the most natural way through that the person does what the Torah demands from him. And this is the first emphasis I want to make together. We know, I think this is a well-known verse in the Torah, that when Adam sinned, afterwards God called him and asked him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard your voice and I hid it behind the tree, or in the tree. I heard your voice." But God asked him, "Where are you?" And what would he have to answer? We'll see that. He would have to answer, "You know where I am, but I sinned. I have a problem." But God asked Adam only after the sin, "Where are you?" Before that, he didn't ask him, only afterwards. Because the essential question which is posed to us, "Where are you?" is not in your aspirations, is not in your inner picture, is not in your dreams, it's not in your night demiones, yeah? No. You are where you have a problem. There are you. And that's what Hashem asked Adam Rishon, asked Adam, "Where are you?" And he answered, not right. That's what our sages tell us, that the answer wasn't what he was supposed to answer. He wasn't supposed to answer, "I heard your voice." He was supposed to answer, "I made a mistake. And I did something wrong. There I am." And this is the first step which we have to come to terms with. We want to deny that. We love motivation. We love aspirations. We love big words. But we don't love our own shortcomings. We don't love them. We want to overcome them. We want to go further. Let's forget about what I did. Let's go further. But then you are asked the question, "Where are you?" And you give the wrong answer. Because the right answer is, you are where you have to work. You are not where you have to dream. You are where you have to work. But we don't know how to work. And we don't know what is demanded from us. So that is the first step. We have to have the courage to face that I have to work on something. Otherwise I won't grow. We'll see that. Otherwise I won't grow. I can't grow out of not being based, of not being standing in my point, in my place. And my place is where I am together with my difficulties. There I am. And from there, I'm working. So, you see, when you are having difficulties, what you want is you want to overcome them. You want to step over them. You lift yourself up. All these nice words, I never know. When I lift myself up, I am unsecure on my feet. So it's a little bit difficult for me to lift myself up. I'm better standing where I am, I feel more secure. But you have to lift yourself up. You have to overcome. You leave your space. You leave your place. And now, let's look together how the Gemara speaks about such a thing, which is, in a certain way, very much surprising. When I want to grow, let's first put that thing in the right place. When I want to grow, there's a basic thing in growth of a human being, that he has to work on himself, that he leaves the place he was beforehand. That has to be the work. I understand that. I'm not telling you you have to dig in your dirt, but you have to leave the place where you are. So it is important to face where you are, because you can leave a thing only when you know what it is. But you have to leave the place where you are. Leaving is very difficult. And growth has one ingredient, a lot of them, but one of them is leave where you are. That is a normal thing in human growth. That's a difference between human growth and the growth in nature. You can have a mistake over here in South Africa for sure. Such a rich nature and such an unbelievable growing environment. Then you could fall into that pitfall that you think a human being is growing exactly the way a tree grows. It's not true. Because the growth of a tree is only that it puts on another layer. But the old one is where it is. That's why you can count the rings. That's right. The old thing is there. That's the core. And you only put on another layer. People, once in a while, they think about people like this. Perhaps you heard once that I know a person when he was in primary school. And then when he's older, he becomes a very important person. But when he was in primary school, he was jene Julik. Weißt du, was heißt das jene Julik auf Yiddish? Yeah? He's gewesen, yeah? He was what he was. And then I tell over to someone, this guy is a very important guy. And then I am told, yeah, but I know him since he's young, you know. No. That's the outlook of a person, that you think growth means putting on a layer. But the core is still there. But this is true in natural growth. But when you speak about human being, it means that you are able to leave where you are. And you leave that behind. Now that is not easy. That's one of the most difficult endeavors we have. And this is a Gemara. Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachia was one of our sages in the Mishnayos. Yeah? Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachia. So he said, as long as I was a simple man and someone told me I should be a leader of the community, he says, alei, that means you are going up to the front of the community. That is something which it looks like it was in the old times like this, that someone which is more important sits in the front. I don't understand that really, but yeah, that's what it is. So when someone told me you are going up, I would put on him a pot with boiling water. Yeah? But after I was known as a leader, when someone will tell me you should go down, I put him in front of a lion. But you were working on yourself. You tried to leave that place. You understood that you have some inclination towards honor. And you felt that you have to work on that. And you worked on that hard. But when the honor kicks in, the place is still there. So now he says a very awkward argument. He says, what is the argument? Why do I have the right to think like this? I'm not only thinking like this because my own shortcoming. That is not interesting. It is an essential shortcoming. The essential shortcoming comes from Shaul. Shaul HaMelech, the king Shaul, was appointed to be a king. And he didn't tell anyone. This is a work, I don't think any one of us can do that. The prophet Shmuel comes to Shaul and he tells him, you are the king. And he puts the oil on him. And he doesn't tell anyone. And I was appointed to speak in Sinai and Dava. I went over all the places. I said, the South African community is really, of course, I'm nothing, but you know what? That's what I am appointed to say, speak in Sinai and Daba. So Shaul was not appointed to speak in Sinai and Daba. Shaul was appointed to be the king of all of the Jews and bring the world to the end. That was the point with him, with fighting Amalek, which we will read in this week's Haftarah. That was the point. He has to bring the world to the end, but we're waiting for Moshiach. That's what he had to do. That's what his deed was. And he didn't tell anyone. And that's what Rabbi Yeshua Brachia said. You know what? Shaul also fought that thing. He didn't want to be a leader. But afterwards, when they wanted to take it from him and appoint David to be the leader, he wanted to kill David. You see, that's the way it works. So you can't leave. So we are gone. So what shall we do? I have a problem with myself. I have a problem that honor speaks to me. And I want to fight that. And I fight that with an enormous effort. Enormous. Unbelievable. But it doesn't help. When the honor kicks in, I'm just as bad as everyone else. So what shall I do? This is the question of growth. Huh? When you grow, I know a lot of people, they grow like this, you know? They grow. And they really grow. And they unbelievable grow. And then they really grow, you know? And then they are all crooked. Because it's not growth. They never leave their comfort zone, when you want that in the modern time, I heard yesterday, that's the way you call it. Or they never leave their natural talents. Let's say like this. You are naturally talented to be a singer. So you will be a singer. But nothing else, you know. You don't leave where you would have to leave in order to stand like this. You don't do that. You just stay with the shortcomings and you're developing in one field. Is that called growth? It is not. Growth is called when you are able to work on this ayeko. Where are you? And now you see how hard that is. Because Shaul or Rabbi Yeshua ben Brachia for sure heard that call. They were listening well. And they heard, where are you? And they said, I have an inclination to honor. I want to be honored. Let's work on that. And they worked hard. And they weren't successful. So what should we say? Why should I now stand here and speak in Sinai and Daba? You have to grow. You have to give up, no? No, never give up. You shouldn't. But we have to understand the sincerity of the problem. I think every one of us is able to see that in his own life. I see that for sure in my life. The leaving today, yesterday I gave an illustration. It's not only that you leave your inborn inclinations. It's a very difficult thing to leave a place where you are. For example, in today's society, to leave youth is very difficult. A person can be 40, a person can be 60, and is considered a person which is worth something when the same things which were interesting for him at the age of 18 are still interesting for him. Oh, that's the real guy. And when he's 70, he's still skiing. And when he's 80, he's still bowling. When he's 90, he's still playing cards. And when he's 120, that will be the last birthday, and that's it. And he'll die young. Are you crazy? But that is what we want. We do not want to leave anything behind. Anything. Not one thing. Not youth. Not our own inclinations, not our own place. Nothing should be left behind. Everything should stay the way it was yesterday. and then we call that growth. No, I call that non-developing. In nature, that is called growth. I understand that. The tree stays the same way he was. Only he's adding a layer, okay? But I'm human, or I try to be human, let's say. So I have to find a human way of growth. So you see from the story of Shaul and of Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachya, you see that working forcefully is not the answer. You're working with big effort and making a big step and trying to work on that in a like aggressive way. I will put a hot pot of water on the top of you. Unbelievable. I don't want that. And you go frontal against. That doesn't do the job. You will not leave the place. It will stay. That's what your nature is. And that's a difficulty in our nature. But we have to try to deal with that. And now comes the point where I want to show you that. When you think that you have to reach your dreams, the way Shaul wanted to reach his dreams, that he should be clean from honor, or Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachya, or when you have any dream you want to reach, and there is a difficulty, why don't you hear Ayeko? Why don't you hear that? Why not? Because the difficulty is there in order to overcome. That's what the difficulty is for. A lot of people say that. You have to overcome. It is an obstacle in your way. Go further. Go above that. No. The obstacle is there to deal with. And to deal with in a very small way. Because that's the way life works. Life is always growing cell by cell. Life is not growing in one shot, never. Life is always growing in very small stages, very small, in tiny steps. But these tiny steps have to lead me to a place where I leave my old involvement. That is what we are searching for. We don't search for a big goal. We don't search for big steps. We don't search for being uplifted. We search where is the next step or the next cell I am able to grow. Where is that? How can I change my life in small steps? How can I do that? Because small steps always have the ingredient that I am still in the old place. That's what you feel. You feel when I do a small step, it didn't change. Because it's only a small step. So why did there be change? And now we begin to see together the healthiness of what Torah demands from us. Because the Torah demands from us exactly where I am holding. It's a demanded next step. That's it. That's what the Torah wants from us. But we ourselves couldn't do that. Because when I myself would think about the next step in my problem, I inevitably would think I have to leave the whole thing. I can't work step by step. I can't do that. Because I want the way Shaul worked and the way Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachya worked. I want that I should be clean because I have that problem. No, I don't have the problem. I don't want it. I want to get out of it. No, that's not the way. That's what Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachya tells us. Yeah, it is one of the biggest questions in the Gemara that Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachya says, I may think like this because Shaul also thought like this. But Shaul had a mistake. It was mistaken. How can you bring a rectification for your action? I say, you know what? I stole your money. Because you know what? The other one stole the other money too. I'm fine. No. He says, it's inevitably. You can't help yourself. That's the way you are built. That when you try to be clean from the beginning, you will not succeed. It will come back. You can't. But that's what you would want without the commandments of Torah. Because what should I do? I am now seeing, Ayeko, I am in a bad place. What shall I do now? Where should I go? I have to leave that place. No, you don't. But I have to leave. Yes, you have. But you have to leave the place in these small steps. And the small steps are guiding you how to deal with that problem in small steps. You don't forget about where you are. And you don't want to erase that. You want to grow out of it. And growing out of it means I really leave that behind. But I will leave that behind in a way that I am able to grow in a natural way with the Torah. You see, that without the Torah, without these things which I am commanded, I will grow in an unnatural way. It is like the most counterintuitive thing you could think. Because you would think, natural growth is what you decide yourself. All these nice words which are going on today, be yourself, think about yourself, do yourself, just do it. And then it doesn't work. It simply does not work. And Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachya tells us it's not only because you didn't work enough. You can't work more than Shaul. You can't do more work. It's impossible. No one person in the world would be able in these days to go home after he was appointed to be a Nobel Prize or Prime Minister of more than the States, you know. And he is appointed to that. That's his next job. And he would go home and say, how are you? Fine. And what is about, he was searching for his donkeys. That's the story. That's like today you search for your Mercedes, yeah? And there wasn't a GPS. The GPS was the prophet, because he knew where the donkeys are. So that's like a GPS, yeah? So he went to Shmuel to ask, where are my donkeys? And then Shmuel says, well, wait, come on. I will tell you, you will be the king. And then he made him in a king, and he came home with the donkeys, and he spoke about where he said that the donkeys are, and he didn't mention that he's appointed to be a king. Could you do that? Could anyone do that? Can you measure up with such a thing? And then, when you are taken off, you'll kill David. You'll kill him. That is your place. That is where you are. And we have to work on that. The Gemara in there doesn't tell us, you don't have to work, give up. No. Only tells us, you have to find a way how to work. And this work of this heroic work, that you just get out of that at once, that doesn't do the job. And that's what everyone wants to do. This is our time. Our time is a time where I would speak in front of you that was one of the most silly remarks which I heard, but the whole of America went after that. Yes, you can. Why should you can? Yes, you can. But that's the way you get president, you know. Today the president, someone says, yes, I'll pay, you know, and then, okay. But it's all, why should these things work? These motivational slogans, which you feel so great about, and you have such a good feeling within you, but then in the end, it doesn't work, and you'll fall back. That is Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachya. That is Shaul HaMelech. And we have to find a way how we will be able to work on ourselves. And there, the Torah kicks in. There, the Torah, with those detailed demands. It's a detailed demands. And the demand is exactly where you're holding. When you are demanded for Shabbos, you are demanded exactly where you are holding. I don't want to go into halakha now, But when you know how that works, you are demanded exactly where you are. But there's a demand, and behind the door there's another one. But that demand will not make you tell yourself, I will do my deeds. No, the demand will tell yourself, I will work with my own shortcomings in order that I should be able to live up that demand. I will work with that. I would want to ask the South African community, with all the honor I give to that, really, but I would want to ask, when you had this Shabbos project and everyone was sitting around the table, what were you demanded? Then you say, oh, okay, I'm not going into the halacha, but why were you only feeling uplifted? Why was it? Why was no one telling himself, I am now demanded something? Something, not a lot. Not keeping off Shabbos, sitting home, and this is this stifling thing you think Torah is. You know, you sit home, you don't know what Shabbos is, but now you have to keep Shabbos, and then you sit home. I will make a good Kirov project, the best one. You know, outreach project, I made the best one. I will go to a jail which is empty. I think all the jails over here in South Africa are empty, that's right. So I'll go to a jail which is empty, and I will hire it. And I'll take students, and on Shabbos, I will lock the students in a room. They can't do anything. They can't open up the electricity, nothing. And they can't do anything. And from one slot comes the food for the Orthodox people without problem of boirer, you know. I give one after the other, you know. So that's perfect. No question of Shabbos involved. From the other side, the dirt comes out, and he will be keeping Shabbos. Great, huh? No. Silly. Silly. Because it doesn't do anything. That's not where he is. That's not addressing the ayeko. He's not there. But everyone in this room, everyone in Sinai and Daba, everyone in South Africa, which was going together with a Shabbos project, why did you hear only that you were uplifted? Why didn't you hear there is a demand, but the demand is not the Shabbos. The demand is my shortcoming. Where is that thing within me which I have to work on through that Shabbos? Where is that? No. You answered exactly like Adam Arish, like Adam. You answered, I heard your voice. Ha! I heard the Shabbos ringing. And it was so uplifting. I heard your voice. Unbelievable. But the question was another one. The question was, where are you? Not what did you hear? And this question you don't want to answer. You do not want. And this is the problem of us, of growth. We have to grow. And we have to grow in a natural way. And the most natural way to grow is through this Torah, which is a very detailed and a very specific demand on a person every single step he goes. But this specific demand is not there only in order to keep it. It's there in order that you should answer, I am here and I work on my things. That has to be your answer. So this is true always. When you encounter something which speaks to you, it's always the question, where am I? So I want to give an illustration on that. With that illustration I gave already throughout this week while I was here, but I go over that. But I want to give an illustration in order to show you that this is not only the demand of the mitzvahs or the Torah, it's the encounter with a thing which is speaking to you, which goes against your grid or is making you a difference in your life. This encounter is speaking to where you are holding, where you are. Once in a while, that happens once to a person, I only show that in a general way in order I shouldn't go into the problem of halakha. Because I am not a rabbi which wants to take the responsibility to tell people, yes, Shabbos for you is this and not that. A good rabbi will tell you that. But I am not now not in a position for all this crowd. Not only I don't know you, I even don't see you, that makes me blind. I don't not know you, I don't see you at all, So it's very difficult to speak to a crowd and say exactly what is needed when I even don't see the people. So I try. Okay, good. 45 I finish, you would have to tell me that before and I will do it myself. No, okay. Good. I want to tell you that in a general way, because there is the demands of Torah do exactly the same thing. Only I don't want to bring these illustrations from the Torah, because that will be tricky, and then people will say, "How did you say that? It's the halacha is different," and then I will be in troubles. I will give something which I'm not in troubles. Okay, I'll tell you the story. There's a story. Take 10 minutes. Will not take no more. Story a little bit sad. Perhaps when I have time in the end, I'll tell you a joyous story too for myself. But first a little bit sad. I had a student which he was definitely a genius, but he was from a broken home and he was living a very unorganized life, all over the place. And then he married someone which was also from a broken home. That's a very good shidduch. And they coped with their lives with that they were very presentable. I knew that. They were presentable. They had a child, a daughter, which the thing in the hair and the shoes were the same color. And at home, every single piece of dust was in the right place, presentable, 100%. That was they were. And then one day, I get a phone call from them, and Thursday night, I get a phone call. They had a Down syndrome child, the second one, without warning, because they didn't make any checkup, because second child, why should you make a checkup? So they didn't make a checkup, and they had a Down syndrome child. So that was a tragic thing. I didn't know what to do, so they told me Thursday night. I couldn't go there Thursday night, I had to go there Friday morning. I went Friday morning to them, and now I have to speak to them, where they are. And now, you can't say, shortcoming, Avere. No, I can't say that. You are cruel. And I don't want to speak where they are not. Yeah, that's normally what you do. You tell them, it's such a big thing that you have such a child, such a big neshama which came down from heaven, and you only need that you know these things which are spoken. I don't do that. And someone which has such a child told me that's the worst thing he hears, because every time it hurts him. So I didn't say that. No. Now I have to speak to them where they are holding. What can they do? What is the ayeko? Where do you grow? So I took all my chutzpah together, and I spoke with a lady one day after delivery. That's not easy. I cried. I didn't know what to do. But I tried to say like this. Your life is about presentation. I know that. But this child will never be presentable. Never, ever. Will not be presentable. Won't. But because till it is clean, takes years, until it can speak, until it will not be the best in school, never. That is not presentable, such a child. What shall I do? But this child will teach you that life is not about presentation. Life is about joy. Because when you deal with that child in the right way, then it will smile. And it will teach you it's not about presentation, it's about simcha. Okay. So I went away. He knows my phone number, and I didn't call him back. After a year, I meet him in the middle of Geula, and he asked me, Leuchter, how are you? So I told him, no, what? I'm fine. You were not good. Berle, how are you? So I said, you can't imagine. My life changed. And at home, there is a big simcha, and we have a piece of light at home. And my wife is so happy. And the whole family changed. Yes. he heard the message of Ayeko. Where are you with your presentability? And now, this is an ongoing thing by him, okay? Because that child goes on. It was not a one-time effort which he took himself out. It's an ongoing thing. And that's why he was able to change. And he changed his position. From the place where he was, Ayeko, where are you? From that place he changed. And that's real change. That's the story from the sad side. Now I have still 5 minutes, not 5 seconds, yeah? So according to your watch, mine goes now, yeah, okay. We'll have a dispute afterwards. So I still can tell you, no, for myself, and there you see, because that was for me a one-time thing that didn't really do the job. I don't like to go to a chuppah. Over here in South Africa, you have the blessing that the rabbi makes all the blessings by the chuppah once in a while. But in Eretz Yisrael, it is that the blessings are distributed in between rabbis. And that's very uncomfortable. Because a rabbi like me, always I think, the way I told you before, and always I think that perhaps I'll be honored and then not. And perhaps by the next one, and then not. And that's very painful. So I don't go to a chuppah. I do not do that. I don't need that thing. I don't go. But there I had a student which was very close to me, and the student wanted me to go to his chuppah. Huh? I wanted me to go to his chuppah, and I told him, no, I don't want to come. He says, no, I want you. I want to honor you. I don't need that. No, I want really to come. Okay, I come. So this student, I don't know whether over here there's someone which knows physics, but it's a book from Max Jammer. Max Jammer wrote a book on physics with a haskoma from Einstein, with the approval of Einstein. And he was still alive then. Max Jammer, that was his grandfather. His father is a Rosh Yeshiva in Shalavim, and he himself was one of the important students at Hebron Yeshiva. So everyone was there. All the Orthodox people and all the Mizrahi, Rabbi Lichtenstein was there, and all the science people. It was a very illustrious chuppah, and Leuchter also is there. And now begins the whole thing. So for sure, the Rosh Yeshiva makes the Mesader Kiddushin, you call that. That was the first person for sure. But then perhaps I will read the Ksuve, because that's boring and no one listens, and that's fine. So no, the Ksuve is someone else. And then the first two broche, someone else. And then the third broche, someone else. And then the fourth, someone else. And I began to have horns, you know. And then the fifth broche, someone else. And then the sixth broche, someone else. And then the last broche, which that's the biggest cover you can get after the Siddur Kiddushin. So it said, Leuchter says the last broche. So this is uncomfortable, believe me. So I went up that chuppah, I said that broche, and in the end I wanted to throw the wine on the chosn and say, sei gesund, you know, I don't need that, you know. So I didn't do it. But I went down and I thought, what was the message? Ayeko, where am I in this message? Where am I? Where am I that I have to work? So when you take that superficial, you say, okay, you got the message that being honored is very nice, but when it's too much, it's really ugly. You know, that's superficial. No, the message is like this. You know, I could try to grow a beard. That goes by itself. I could try to grow payas. I could try that I should stand in front of you. Perhaps I won't be successful. I can try that I come and the heilige Teure. I could try to do that. Okay? I could try to create a slope which goes from me downwards to you. I could try to do that. I don't need that. I am a guy which speaks with you exactly the height of your eyes, and that's it. I don't need to come as an important person. You know, Leuchter, your students think you are important, and perhaps you have to behave differently. No, that doesn't go. There you have to work. And because it was only a one-time thing, it didn't help. You see? It didn't help. Because I still have that I think, no, that is what I do. You know, I speak with you without coming down on you. I hope so. So that is the Ayeko. Where are you? your Shabbos, where are you in your Shabbos? What is the demand on you? And then you grow. And then you deal with what you have to deal with. And that's the way you'll be a different person. And that's all what we want. We want all to be different people. We want to change. We want to grow. And that is the most natural way to grow. When we are taking Torah and taking these ongoing demands into our lives, we will grow in a natural way. Thank you.